This is really the secret sauce to a beginner's demo reel that is outstanding and gets noticed. This week's video, we are going to be talking about what does an effects supervisor want to see in a beginner's demo reel piece. So let's get into it. Hey, hi, I'm Nelson Lim. I'm a digital artist and technologist. If you don't know me, some of the projects, the games, and the films that I've worked on include Pacific Rim, Transformers, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Fortnite. In this channel, I help CG VFX artists level up their skills and mindset so they can create more, earn more, and live more. So welcome to the channel. So what is a demo reel piece, or sometimes known as a portfolio? To begin with, let's talk about what it is not. It is not a tutorial exercise, so it's not something that you just follow a tutorial and then you just produce the same results as a tutorial. It is not just another school assignment. This one's popular. I see it a lot in demo reels where you went through a course, taught you something, there was an assignment in there, and you included that assignment in your demo reel. A portfolio piece is not an assignment piece. It is not a research exercise either. So you decided that you wanted to learn a little bit more about vellum or grains, and you did a little simple exercise research into it and created something really simple, and you want to include that in your demo reel. That is not a portfolio piece. So what is a portfolio piece? A portfolio piece is a effects heavy personal work. All right, so it's personal work because you've never had production experience, and it's got to be effects heavy. The effects has got to be the main thing in the shot. The whole idea is you want multiple effects elements coming together as a possible production shot. So you want to hit that high level of quality as much as possible. A good gauge of how long it should take for you to create a portfolio piece if you're working on it full time is probably a good 2 to 3 months. Working on it all the time to create a piece that is of as high a quality as you can possibly get, and the end goal is to be able to create, say, 2 to 3 of these portfolio pieces that you can then use to cut into an effects demo reel. At the end of this video, I'm going to share with you a little secret on how you can choose a good idea for an effects demo reel piece, so make sure to stick to the end. Also, if you like this content so far, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as that little bell over there so that you can receive notifications when I produce more content. So here are 7 things that an effects supervisor wants to see in a beginner demo reel or portfolio piece. Number 1, keep it short. 3 to 6 seconds at 24 frames per second is really sufficient. Most movie shots are under 1 second. But why you want at least 3 seconds is so you want to give sufficient time for us to see your effects sort of evolved and just have sufficient screen time for us to see the quality of your work. You work so hard on it, you want to make sure that it's seen. Now, you don't want to exceed 6 seconds. Again, it's not necessarily a rule of thumb, but just kind of a good measure. It's because you want to reduce the scope so that you can push the quality. Never try to do a 10-second shot if it's going to affect the quality of the outcome that you can produce. And naturally it would, because you have to render so much more. All right, number 2, focus your work on the effects. It's an effects demo reel piece, so you really want to focus your time and effort on the effects. Now, if you can do something that doesn't need to be animated, fantastic. If you can purchase rigs off the shelf, great. If you can purchase assets that are already textured and shaded, that's fantastic. So you want to reduce the amount of work that you're doing that is not effects related, because you want to push the quality of your effects to as high a bar as you can. Now, sometimes that means that if you're in an art school and you can find other people who are talented in other areas, you can collaborate with them and create this amazing piece together. Or maybe you're in an online community of some sort and you can find people to collaborate together on a portfolio piece. That's fantastic if you can leverage the strengths of others. But remember, focus on the effects. Number 3, earlier we talked about a portfolio piece is not an assignment, is not a tutorial. So let's talk a little bit about why you shouldn't have that in there. An effects supervisor wants to know that you can do the work. And doing the work means that you're going to be given a shot that you're probably going to have to create an effect from scratch. Clients don't order tutorial pieces, so you've got to be able to show that you can troubleshoot, you know how to create an effect, you know how to approach creating an effect for a shot from scratch, starting out. So that's what we want to see, and that's the reason why we don't think that you should put your tutorial work into your demo reel piece. All right, number 4, and I see this mistake happen all the time. Don't show your elements against black. In fact, the tip would be try to composite your elements against a photoreal background, because that's exactly the way your elements are going to be used in a production. In fact, the effect supervisor wants to see that you know how to create elements that can be used in a production, elements that will look good composited against a photoreal background and not just black, because everything looks great against black. I can't even tell if you are able to distinguish what is rendering something out with an alpha if you just composite it against black, because I won't be able to tell at all. So that's why we want you to exhibit those skills, go learn new, show that you can composite your effects against a photoreal background. Super helpful tip. Okay, before we move on to the next thing, I just wanted to let you know that I've created a 10-page effects demo reel guide. It's a free PDF, and inside I have collected many of these tips and tricks and talked about them in a little bit more detail. It's got 2 checklists in there that's really helpful as you're creating your demo reel. So be sure to check it out in the description below, and we should be able to send it to you via email. Okay, number 5. This is a big one that effects supervisors want to see that we don't see very often. Layer your effects. Show us that you know cause and effect. There's no smoke without fire. So if you have fire, show me the smoke. If you have fire, show me the embers. If you have fire, show me all the other things that are associated with it. Maybe burning ash, all of that. I want you to be able to show me that you understand the causality and effects of how one primary effect can create all this other stuff, but also show me that you know how to use multiple effects elements to layer on top of each other to achieve a high level of quality and fidelity and realism in your effects renders. So do that. Super helpful in creating an outstanding portfolio piece. Okay, number 6, pick something that excites you. This is not really something that an effects supervisor wants to see necessarily, but do note, if you're going to be working on this for 2 to 3 months, we're talking about probably iterations up to maybe about 100 or more iterations to get it to the quality level that it should be. You need to make sure that you're excited about this. You like this effect that you're trying to create. So pick something that you really like and enjoy doing and won't get sick of by the 20th iteration. Okay, number 7, this is really the secret sauce to a beginner's demo reel that is outstanding and gets noticed. And if I were an effects supervisor, that's what I really want to see beginner effects artists do when they create their demo reel pieces. And that is to use matching references, like match a reference from a high quality feature film where you know the effects is going to be outstanding, and or actual stock footage. So what you want is to be able to train your eye, have this reference all over the place that this is the effect that you're trying to match or surpass. It's really important that you do that, because as a beginner, you are trying to train your aesthetic. You don't necessarily have an effects supervisor unless you have a mentor who is able to guide you through, give you critique about the work that you are creating as you iterate through that. But if you have a reference that you can match, then you can know with each iteration that you push, does this look as good as my reference or better? And so it's going to help you train that aesthetic eye of yours, which is really hard. It's something that's really difficult for beginners, is being able to train your eye, and nothing beats that compared to like real life footage reference or reference from some of your favorite movies that have high quality effects in it. So the goal is you want to match or surpass that reference. As promised, I'm going to talk about how do you choose an idea for a beginner effects demo reel piece, here is it. And I think this is the way that you really need to understand what effects supervisors want to see in a beginner's effects reel. I want to see that you can do the types of work that I would assign a beginner effects TD. So what that means, any sensible VFX or effects supervisor is not going to be giving the junior artist that massive water shot, that large scale building destruction shot, because that's just going to produce a really stressed out junior effects artist. And I do want to see my artists be in the industry for a while. So you're not going to get those shots. So what kind of shots are you going to get? You're going to get shots that's really the bread and butter effects, you know, the thing that we do the most of. It's not necessarily the most glamorous thing, but there is a lot of meaty things and exciting things to learn and to do even in these type of effects. So what type of effects are we talking about? A lot of the effects that we're talking about is going to be environment effects. So let me give you a couple of examples of environment effects here. Sparks, rain, fog, haze, plankton, dust, breaking or falling glass, dirt, debris, leaves, flying leaves, smoke, hit impacts, muzzle flashes, ground interaction. Very common, even mid and senior TDs do that because it's just very, very common stuff that we do. Falling paper, ash, snow, background fires, flying embers. Those are the types of things that are the bread and butter of effects. And every effects TD, especially a junior effects TD, ought to be really acquainted with. So those are the types of effects that you can expect to get as a junior effects artist or a junior effects TD. And those are the types of effects that you want to make sure that you show that you have mastered to a high level of quality, that when I look at your reel, I know that I'm going to be able to put this guy to work on all of these effects elements that need to be done. And he understands it and he knows how to push it to the level of quality that is needed. And so I think that is key to understanding what an effects supervisor wants to see in your portfolio piece, and key to helping you decide what ideas you should pick in your effects demo reel portfolio piece. Now that said, you don't have to have all of these effects elements in your demo reel. That's actually quite a lot of effects, but you should have few of these inside. Go pick your favorite VFX heavy feature film. Look at certain shots as you watch through those movies, you know, pick certain shots that have a lot more environment effects and choose something that you feel is achievable, something that is a little bit of a challenge for you, but still achievable. Something that you think that if you spent 2 to 3 months of dedicated time learning and iterating and producing that effect, you're going to get something that is of the same quality as that shot, or if not more. On top of that, you want to make sure that it's a shot that has multiple layers of effects elements. So it really shows off the range of elements you can create, the range and diversity of techniques that you know, as well as mentioned earlier, your ability to just know how to layer effects to generate detail and realism. So other things you could potentially consider in a hero shot is maybe an explosion, a simple explosion of some sort, or something metal bending, possibly concrete, just, you know, some sort of concrete structure breaking and fracturing, maybe a statue, a sculpture, something that's a little bit more within scope and something that's going to be a little bit more easier to tackle, something that you can imagine a sensible effects supervisor assigning to you as a junior effects artist. If you like the content that you've been seeing so far, it would really help me a lot if you could hit subscribe and the little bell button there to be notified when new content comes out. And also, you know, it really helps if you give me the thumbs up, or I heard it also helps if you give me the thumbs down. So whatever, so long as you hit like or dislike, that's fine too. And that helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. Once again, remember to pick the free effects demo reel guide that's provided in the description below, and I will see you guys next week.